Prabhu. I was thinking we can start Chaitanya Charitamrita from backwards. I've read from start till end. We can start from end till start.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Let's start Chaitanya Charitamrita. I mean, I do not tell any senior devotees about this, that I am starting Chaitanya Charitamrita from back. And I'm pretty sure I'll get beaten up, but still. We can start. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Pura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Pura Bhakta Vrinda. Once again I'll get the book.
Shri Chaitanya Jaya Not chapter 20.
We should start with chapter 20 actually. Yeah, Shiksha Ashtam. Alright. I have around 40 minutes. We can do a little bit of Mangalacharan if it's okay. You can do 10, I can do 10.
Guru Nisha Bhakta Nisha Nisha Vataraka Chakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangakam Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodito Godadaya Pushpavanto Chitra Shando Tamodudo Yadadvetam Prabhupadishadi Tadapyasya Tanubhayat Mantaryami Purusha iti Sosham Shabibhavaha Sashadaishvarya Purno Ya Iha Bhagavan Sasvayamayam Na Chaitanya Krishna Jagati Paratatvam Paramiha. Anarpita Chirim Chirat Karunaya Vatirnakalo Samarpaitu Munatujvala Rasam Svabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Dyuti Kadam Rasandipita Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratu Vasachinandana Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladini Shakti Rasmad Ekatmana Vibhuvi Purate Khadidam Katuto Chaitanya Kyam Prakritam Madhunata Dvayam Chaitamaptam Radha Bhavatyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Svarupam Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kitrisho Vanayeva Svadyo Yena Adbhuta Madhurima Kitrisho Vamadiya Saukyam Chasya Madhanubhavata Kitrisham Vedi Lopat Tad Bhavatya Samajani Shachigarbha Sindhu Harindu Sankarshana Karanatoyashai Garbhodashai Chapayogdishai Sheshaschayasyamsha Kalasanitya Nandakya Rama Sharanam Mamastu Ayatite Vyapi Vaikunta Loke Purnaishvarye Shri Chaturvyuha Madhye Rupam Yasyodbhati Sankarshanakyam Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye Maya Bharta Janda Sangha Shayanka Shete Sakshat Karanam Bodhi Madhye Yasyekam Sa Shri Pumanadi Deva Stam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye Yasyam Sham Sha Shri Lagu Garbhodashai Yana Prabjam Loka Sangatanalam Loka Shastu Stuti Kadama Dhatus Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye
Yasham Sham Sha Paratatmakhilanam Poshta Vishnu Bhakti Dugdabdishai Shoni Bhartayat Kalasu Api Anantas Tam Shri Nityananda Ramam Prapadye Mahavishnu Jagat Karta Mayaya Yasrjataha Tasyavatara Evayam Advaita Acharya Ishvara Advaitam Harinadvaitam Acharyam Bhakti Samshanat Bhaktavataram Isham Tam Advaitam Acharya Ashraye Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Manda Matirgati Mat Sarvasva Padam Bhojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadruma Śrīmad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Śrīmad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Preshtali Visevya Manusmarami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vamshivata Tatastita Karshan Venur Soner Gopi Gopinatha Shri Estuna Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda এই তিন ঠাকুর গড়িয়াছে করিয়াছে না আত্মসাৎ এ তিনেরা চরণ বন্দন তিনে মোরানাথ গ্রন্থের আরম্ভ করি মঙ্গলাচরণ গুরু বৈষ্ণব ভগবান তিনেরা স্মরণ হয়ে বিঘ্ন বিনাশা অনায়াসে হয়ে নিজা वंचिता पुराना श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय We can do 10 and 10 maybe.
Yeah,
You can start to
Only the most fortunate will relish the mad words of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which were mixed with jubilation, envy, agitation, submissiveness, and grief, all produced by ecstatic loving emotions. All glories to Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Lord Nityananda, all glories to Advaita Chandra, and all glories to all the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. While Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu thus resided at Jagannath Puri, Nilachala, he was continuously overwhelmed night and day by separation from Krishna. Day and night he tasted transcendental blissful songs and verses with two associates, namely Swarup Damodar Goswami and Ramananda Roy. He relished the symptoms of various transcendental emotions such as jubilation, lamentation, anger, humility, anxiety, grief, eagerness, and satisfaction. He would recite his own verses, expressing their meanings and emotions, and thus enjoy tasting them with these two friends. Sometimes the Lord would be absorbed in a particular emotion and would stay awake all night reciting related verses and relishing their taste. In great jubilation, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy, know from me that chanting the holy names is the most feasible means of salvation in this age of Kali. In the age of Kali, the process of worshipping Krishna is to perform sacrifice by chanting the holy name of the Lord. One who does so is certainly very intelligent, and he attains shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, He is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions.
Text 11. Simply by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna, one can be freed from all undesirable habits. This is the means of awakening all good fortune and initiating the flow of the waves of love for Krishna. Now comes the first shloka. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamaha davagni nirvapanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Premamritam Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of the Lord Krishna, which can cleanse the mirror of the heart and stop the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. That chanting is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living entities. It is the life and soul of all education. The chanting of the holy name of Krishna expands the blissful ocean of transcendental life. It gives a cooling effect to everyone and enables one to taste full nectar at every step. Srila Prabhupada's purport, this is the first verse of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shishtashtaka. The others are 16, 21, 19, 29, 32, 36, 14, 47. Text 13. By performing congregational chanting of the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamantra, one can destroy the sinful condition of material existence, purify the unclean heart, and awaken all varieties of devotional service. Text 14. The result of chanting is that one awakens his love for Krishna and tastes transcendental bliss. Ultimately, one attains the association of Krishna and engages in love in his devotional service, as if immersing himself in great ocean of love. Text 15. Lamentation and humility awoke within Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he began to recite another of his own verses. By hearing the meaning of that verse, one can forget all unhappiness and lamentation. Nam namakari bahuda nij sarva shakti statrarpitani amita smaranena kalaha etadrishi tav kripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva mitrishamiha janina anuragaha. O Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name there is all good fortune for the living entity, and therefore you have many names such as Krishna and Govinda, by which you expend yourself. You have invested all your potencies in those names, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them. My dear Lord, although you bestow such mercy upon the fallen, conditioned souls by liberally teaching your holy name, I am so unfortunate that I commit offenses while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting. Text 17. Because people vary in their desires, you have distributed various holy names by your mercy. Text 18. Regardless of time or place, one who chants the holy name even while eating or sleeping attains all perfection. Text 19. You have invested all your full potencies in each individual holy name, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attachment for chanting your holy names. Text 20. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued, O Swarup Damodar Gosai and Ramananda Rai, hear from me the symptoms of how one should chant the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamantra to awaken very easily. Hear from me the symptoms of how one should chant the Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamantra to awaken very easily one's dormant love for Krishna.
one who thinks himself lower than the grass, who is more tolerant than a tree, and who does not expect personal honor but is always prepared to give all respect to others, can very easily always chant the holy name of the Lord. These are the symptoms of one who chants the Hare Kṛṣṇa Maha Mantra. Although he is very exalted, he thinks himself lower than the grass on the ground, and like a tree, he tolerates everything in two ways. When a tree is cut down, it does not protest, and even when drying up, it does not ask anyone for water. The tree delivers its fruits, flowers, and whatever else it possesses to anyone and everyone. It tolerates scorching heat and torrents of rain, yet it still gives shelter to others. Although a Vaishnava is the most exalted person, he is prideless and gives all respect to everyone, knowing everyone to be the resting place of Krishna. If one chants the holy name of Lord Krishna in this manner, he will certainly awaken his dormant love for Krishna's lotus feet. As Lord Chaitanya spoke in this way, his humility increased, and he began praying to Krishna that he could discharge pure devotional service. Wherever there is a relationship of love of Godhead, its natural symptom is that the devotee does not think himself a devotee. Instead, he always thinks that he has not even a drop of love for Krishna. Naranam najanam nasundarim kavitam vajagadisha kamaye mama janmana janmanishvare mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhaktir haituki itvaye. O Lord of the universe, I do not desire material wealth, materialistic followers, a beautiful wife, or fruitive activities described in flowery language. All I want, life after life, is unmotivated devotional service to you. My dear Lord Krishna, I do not want material wealth from you, nor do I want followers, a beautiful wife, or the results of fruitive activities. I only pray that by your causeless mercy you give me pure devotional service to you, life after life.
In great humility, considering himself a conditioned soul of the material world, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again expressed his desire to be endowed with the service of the Lord. O my Lord, O Krishna, son of Maharaj Nanda, Ai Nanda Tanuj Kinkaram Patitam Ma Vishame Bhavam Buddho Kripya Tava Pad Pankaja Sthiti Dhuli Sadrisham Vichintaya. O my Lord, O Krishna, son of Nanda Maharaj, I am your eternal servant, but because of my own fruitive acts I have fallen into this horrible ocean of nuisance. Now please be causelessly merciful to me. Consider me the particle of dust at your lotus feet. I am your eternal servant, but I forgot your lordship. Now I have fallen into the ocean of nuisance. Now I have fallen into the ocean of nuisance and have been conditioned by the external energy. Be causelessly merciful to me by giving me a place with particles of dust at your lotus feet, so that I may engage in the service of your lordship as your eternal servant. कृपा करी करा मोरे पादा धूलि समा, तुम्हारा सेवा का करूं, तुम्हारा सेवा. Natural humility and eagerness then awoke in Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He prayed to Krishna to be able to chant the Maha Mantra in ecstatic love. Punaha ati utkantha Nayanam galadashrudharaya badanam gadgadarudhaya gira Pulakir nichitam vapukada tav naam grahane bhavishyati. My dear Lord, when will my eyes be beautified by filling with tears that constantly glide down as I chant your holy name? When will my voice flatter and all the hairs on my body stand erect in transcendental happiness as I chant your holy name? Without love of Godhead, my life is useless. Therefore, I pray that you accept me as your servant and give me the salary of ecstatic love of God. Prema dhvani vina vyartha daridra jivan dasa kari vetan more deha prema dhan. Text 38. Separation from Krishna awoke various mellow of distress, lamentation and humility. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a crazy man. Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravishaitam shunyaitam jag sarvam govinda virahe name. My Lord Govinda, because of separation from you, I consider even a moment a great millennium. Tears flow from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I see the entire world as void. In my agitation, a day never ends. For even a moment seems like a millennium, pouring incessant tears. My eyes are like clouds in the rainy season. This reminds me of, how Mahaprabhu's tears were going like this, straight and then.
Yeah, shooting out, yeah.
What do you?
The three worlds have become void because of separation from Govinda. I feel as if I were burning alive in a slow fire. Lord Krishna has become indifferent to me just to test my love, and my friends say, better to disregard him. While Srimati Radharani was thinking in this way, the characteristics of natural love became manifest because of her pure heart. The ecstatic symptoms of envy, great eagerness, humility, zeal, and supplication all became manifest at once. In that mood, the mind of Srimati Radharani was agitated, and therefore she spoke a verse of advanced devotion to her Gopi friends. In the same spirit of ecstasy, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited that verse, and as soon as he did so, he felt like Srimati Radharani. Ashlishava paratam inashtumam adarshanam marmahatam karotu va yatatadava vidadatu lampato prananatastu saeva napara. Let Krishna tightly embrace this maidservant who has fallen at his lotus feet, or let him trample me or break my heart by never being visible to me. He is a debauchee after all and can do whatever he likes, but still he alone and no one else is the worshipable Lord of my heart. The translation in the Chaitanya Charitamrita is different from the general.
Yeah, and I like it better. I think this is better.
I mean, it's more
Yeah.
confidential.
Yeah.
I am a maidservant at the lotus feet of Krishna. He is the embodiment of transcendental happiness and mellows. If he likes, he can tightly embrace me and make me feel oneness with him, or by not giving me his audience, he may corrode my mind and body. Nevertheless, it is he who is the Lord of my life. My dear friend, just hear the decision of my mind. Krishna is the Lord of my life in all conditions, whether he shows me affection or kills me by giving me unhappiness. Sometimes Krishna gives up the company of other gopis and becomes controlled, mind and body, by me. Thus he manifests my good fortune and gives others distress by performing his loving affairs with me.
Or since after all he is a very cunning, obstinate debauchee with a propensity to cheat, he takes to the company of other women. He then indulging in loving affairs with them in front of me to give distress to my mind. Nevertheless, he is still the Lord of my life. I do not mind my personal distress. I only wish for the happiness of Krishna, for his happiness is the goal of my life. However, if he feels great happiness in giving me distress, that distress is my best of my happiness. I'll read the purport. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj says that devotee does not care about his own happiness and distress. He is simply interested in seeing that Krishna is happy, and for that purpose he engages in various activities. A pure devotee has no way of seeing happiness except by seeing that Krishna is happy in every respect. If Krishna becomes happy by giving him distress, such a devotee accepts that unhappiness as the greatest of all unhappiness. Those who are materialistic, however, who are very proud of material wealth and have no spiritual knowledge, like the Prakata Sahajiyas, regard their own happiness as the aim of life. Some of them aspire to enjoy themselves by sharing the happiness of Krishna. That this is the mentality of fruite workers who want to enjoy sense gratification by making a show of service to Krishna. Text 53. If Krishna, attached by the beauty of some other women, wants to enjoy with her but is unhappy because he cannot get her, I fall down at her feet, catch her hand and bring her to Krishna to engage her for his happiness. When a beloved gopi shows some symptoms of anger toward Krishna, Krishna is very satisfied. Indeed, he is extremely pleased when chastised by such a gopi. She shows her pride suitably, and Krishna enjoys that attitude. Then she gives up her pride with a little endeavor. Why does a woman continue to live who knows that Krishna's heart is unhappy, but who still shows her deep anger towards him? She is interested in her own happiness. I condemn such a woman to be struck on the head with a thunderbolt. For we simply want the happiness of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada's purport. A devotee who is satisfied only with his own gratification certainly falls down from the service of Krishna. Being attracted by material happiness, he later joins Prakata Sahajiyas, who are considered to be non-devotees. Text 56. If a gopi envious of me satisfy Krishna and Krishna desires her, I shall not hesitate to go to her house and become her maid servant, for then my happiness will be awakened. Text 57. The wife of a Brahmana suffering from leprosy manifested herself as the topmost of all chaste women by serving a prostitute to satisfy her husband. She thus stopped the movement of sun, brought her dead husband back to life, and satisfied the three principal demigods Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. Krishna is my life and soul. Krishna mora jivan, Krishna mora prana dhana, Krishna mora pranera prana parana, हृदय उपारे धरो सेवा करी सुखी करो यही मोरा सदा राहे धन्या. Krishna is my life and soul. Krishna is the treasure of my life. Indeed, Krishna is the life of my life. I therefore keep him always in my heart and try to please him by rendering service. That is my constant meditation. Text 59. Mora. My happiness is in the service of Krishna, and Krishna's happiness is in union with me. For this reason, I give my body in charity to the lotus feet of Krishna, who accepts me as his loved one and calls me his most beloved. It is then that I consider myself his maid servant. Service to my lover is the home of happiness and is more sweet than direct union with him. The goddess of fortune is the evidence of this. For although she constantly lives on the heart of Narayan, she wants to render service to his lotus feet. She therefore considers herself a maid servant and serves him constantly.
These statements by Srimati Radharani show the symptoms of pure love for Krishna tasted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In that ecstatic love, his mind was unsteady. Transformations of transcendental love spread throughout his entire body, and he could not sustain his body and mind. The pure devotional service in Vrindavan is like the golden particles in the river Jammu. In Vrindavan, there is not a trace of personal sense gratification. It is to advertise such pure love in this material world that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has written the previous verse and explained its meaning. Thus overwhelmed by ecstatic love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke like a madman and recited suitable verses. The Lord had formerly composed these 8 verses to teach people in general. Now he personally tasted the meaning of the verses, which are called Shikshastika. If anyone recites or hears these 8 verses of instruction by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, His ecstatic love and devotion for Krishna increase day by day. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is as deep and grave as millions of oceans, when the moon of his various emotions rises, he becomes restless. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu read the verses of Jayadev's Gita Govinda, of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, of Ramananda Roy's drama Jagannath Vallabh Nataka, and of Bilva Mangal Thakur's Krishna Karnamrita, he was overwhelmed by the various ecstatic emotions of those verses. Thus, he tasted their purports. For 12 years, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained in that state day and night. With his two friends, he tasted the meaning of those verses, which consists of nothing but the transcendental bliss and mellows of Krishna consciousness. Even Anantadeva, who has thousands of faces, could not reach the end of describing the transcendental bliss of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes.
How then could an ordinary living being with a very little intelligence describe such pastimes? Nevertheless, I am trying to touch but a particle to them just to rectify myself. There is no limit to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities and his words of madness. Therefore, describing them all would greatly increase the size of this book. I wish he would have increased the size of this book. Whatever pastimes Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has first described, I have nearly summarized. I have only very briefly described the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not described by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Nevertheless, because those transcendental pastimes are so numerous, the size of this book has increased. It is impossible to describe all the pastimes elaborately. I shall therefore end this description and offer them my respectful obeisances. What I have described gives merely an indication, but by following this indication, one may obtain a taste of all the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I cannot understand the very deep, meaningful pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. My intelligence cannot penetrate them, and I therefore could not properly describe them. After offering my respectful obeisances to the lotus feet of all my Vaishnava readers, I shall therefore end this description of characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The sky is unlimited, but many birds fly higher and higher according to their own abilities. Akasha ananta tate jaiche pakshi gana jara jata shakti tata kare arohana. The song by, I think it is inspired from this maybe. Ekachakra Prabhu's song. The pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are unlimited sky. How then can an ordinary being describe them all?
I have tried to describe them as far as my intelligence allows, as if trying to touch a drop in the midst of a great ocean. Vrindavan Das Thakur is Lord Nityananda's favorite devotee, and therefore he is the original Vyasadeva in describing the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although Vrindavan Das Thakur has within his jurisdiction the full store of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, he has left aside most of them and described but a small portion. What I have described was left aside by Vrindavan Das Thakur, but although he could not describe these pastimes, he gave us a synopsis. In his book named Chaitanya Mangala, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, he has described these pastimes in many places. I request my readers to hear that book, for that is the best evidence. I have described the pastimes very briefly, for it is impossible for me to describe them in full. In the future, however, Veda Vyas will describe them elaborately. That's really, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, I really liked it. Maybe we discussed a lot, like when I was reading first time Chaitanya Charitamrita with the devotees, that would be so amazing. In the next millennium, when Vyasadeva will write, he will write a lot of pastimes out of Mahaprabhu.
Yeah, that's really remarkable. In the Chaitanya Mangala, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has stated in many places the factual truth that in the future Vyasadeva will describe the Lord's pastimes elaborately. And it says the same. Okay, yeah, it says the same in Chaitanya-bhāgavatam. The ocean of nectarian pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like the ocean of milk. According to his thirst, Vrindavan Das Thakur filled his pitcher and drank from that ocean. Whatever remnants of milk Vrindavan Das Thakur has given me are sufficient to fill my belly. Now my thirst is completely satisfied. I am a very insignificant living being, like a small red-beaked bird. Just as such a bird drinks the water of the sea to quench its thirst, so I have touched only a drop of the ocean of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. From this example, you may all understand how expansive are the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I infer that I have written is a false understanding. Oh, sorry.
I infer that I have written is a false understanding, for my body is like a wooden doll. I am old and troubled by invalidity. I am almost blind and deaf. My hands tremble and my mind and intelligence are unsteady. I am infected with so many diseases that I can neither properly walk nor properly sit. Indeed, I am always exhausted by 5 kinds of diseases. I may die at any time of the day or night. I have previously given an account of my inabilities. Please hear the reason why I nevertheless still write. Shri Govinda, Shri Chaitanya, Shri Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Shri Bhakta, Ara Shri Srota Vrinda, Shri Swarupa, Shri Rupa, Shri Sanatana, Shri Raghunath Dasa, Shri Guru, Shri Jiva Charana, इहाँ सब चरना कृपाएं लेखे हमारे आरा एका होए तेनो अति कृपा करे. I am writing in this book by the mercy of the lotus feet of Sri Govinda Dev, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya Prabhu, other devotees and the readers of this book, as well as Swarup Damodar Goswami, Srila Rup Goswami, Srila Sanatan Goswami, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, who is my spiritual master, and Srila Jeev Goswami. I have also been specifically favored by another personality. Sri Madan Mohan, the deity of Vrindavan, has given the order that is making me write. Although this should not be disclosed, I disclose it because I am unable to remain silent. If I did not disclose this fact, I would be guilty of ingratitude to the Lord. Therefore, my dear readers, please do not consider me too proud and be angry at me. Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami is too humble.
It is because I have offered my prayers unto the lotus feet of all of you that whatever I have written about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been possible. Now let me repeat all the pastimes of the Antilila, for if I do so, I shall taste the pastimes again. The first chapter describes how Rupa Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the second time, and how the Lord heard his 2 dramas, Vidagdha Madhav and Lalita Madhav. That chapter also describes the incident of Shivananda Sena's dog, who was induced by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to chant the holy name of Krishna and was thus liberated. The second chapter tells how the Lord instructively punished Junior Haridas. Also in that chapter is a description of the wonderful vision of Shivananda Sena. In the third chapter is a description of the forceful glories of Haridas Thakur. That chapter also mentions how Damodar Pandit spoke words of criticism to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The third chapter also tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered everyone by bestowing upon the universe the holy name of the Lord, and it describes how Haridas Thakur established the glories of the holy name by his practical example. The fourth chapter describes Sanatana Goswami's second visit with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and how the Lord saved him from committing suicide. The fourth chapter also tells how Sanatana Goswami was tested in the sunshine of Jaishta, May and June, and was then empowered and sent back to Vrindavan. The fifth chapter tells how the Lord showed his favor to Pradyumna Mishra and made him hear topics Krishna from Ramananda Roy.
That chapter also describes how Sarup Damodar Goswami rejected the drama of a poet from Bengal and established the glories of the deity. The sixth chapter described how Raghunath Das Goswami met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and performed the chipped rice festival in accordance with Nityanand Prabhu's order. That chapter also tells how Lord entrusted Raghunath Das Goswami to the care of Sarup Damodar Goswami and Raghunath Das and gave Raghunath Das the gift of a stone from Govardhan Hill and a garland of small conch shells. I'm never able to see. I mean, it's there, but like it's so far. You are not able to see clearly these things. I have to buy a binocular or something to see clearly. The seventh chapter tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Vallabha Bhatta and dismantled his false pride in various ways. The eighth chapter describes the arrival of Ramachandra Puri and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu minimized his eating due to fear of him. In the ninth chapter is a description of how Gopinath Patnaik was delivered and how people of the three worlds were able to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 107. In the 10th chapter, I have described how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tasted the food given by her devotees, and I have also described the assortments in the bags of Raghav Pandit. You know, like in Hindi, it's called Raghav Pandit ki theli. Theli is a small bag. It's very funny actually. Like, I don't know, you can't understand, but it's very funny. Also in that chapter is the description of how Lord examined Govinda and how he danced in the temple. The 11th chapter describes the disappearance of Haridas Thakur and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, showed affection for his devotees. In the 12th chapter are descriptions of how Jagadananda Pandit broke a pot of oil and the Lord Nityanand Prabhu chastised Shivanand Sen.
The 13th chapter tells how Jagadananda Pandit went to Mathura and returned, and how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chance heard a song sung by a Devadasi dancing girl. Also, in the 13th chapter is an account of how Raghunath Bhatta met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who by his causeless mercy sent him to Vrindavan. The 14th chapter describes the beginning of the Lord's spiritual trance, in which his body was at Jagannath Puri but his mind was in Vrindavan. Also in that chapter is a description of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell down in front of the Simhadvar gate of the Jagannath temple. His bones separated at the joints, and how various transcendental symptoms awakened in him. Also in that chapter is a description of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ran toward Chatika Parvata and spoke like a man. In the 15th chapter is a description of how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered a garden on the seashore and mistook it for Vrindavan. Also in that chapter is a description of the attraction of Lord Chaitanya's five senses to Krishna, and how he searched for Krishna in the rasa dance. The 16th chapter tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed his mercy to Kalidas and thus demonstrated the result of eating the remnants of the food of Vaishnavas. It also describes how Shivananda's son composed a verse and how the doorkeeper of the Simhadvar showed Krishna to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Also in that chapter, the glories of Mahaprasadam are explained, and a verse is tasted describing the effect of nectar from the lips of Krishna.
What verse is spoken? Like, I don't remember this. A verse is tasted describing the...
Yes, 16th chapter.
I kind of don't remember what was there. Is it talking about the Maha?
It might be 74, text 74. There's the 7-year-old boy who says that verse.
Okay.
Or it could be
Yeah. I
119.
think this is. I think you are correct. 119. Let's see. 119. This is quoting, but this is tasted describing a verse is tasted describing the effects of the nectar of lips of Krishna. Oh yes. Now I remember. I think. Yeah.
It's 119 because
Yeah.
it's 119.
Yeah. I remember now. Yes. Okay. The 17th chapter recounts how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu fell among the cows and assumed the form of a tortoise as his ecstatic emotions awakened. The chapter also tells that the attributes of Krishna's sound attracted the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who then described next the meaning of Kastri Angate verse. The 17th chapter also tells how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, due to the conjunctions of various ecstatic emotions, again began speaking like a madman and described in detail the meaning of a verse from Krishna Karnamrita. In 18th chapter is an account of how the Lord fell into the ocean and in ecstasy saw in a dream the pastimes of water fight between Krishna and the gopis. In that dream, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Krishna's picnic in the forest and Lord Sri Chaitanya floated in the sea. A fisherman caught him and then the Lord returned to his own residence. All this is recounted in the 18th chapter. I really like this chapter because this shows how even a fisherman can get mercy and love of God. Yeah, who like hunts for fish.
Not just mercy, but like he experiences ecstatic symptoms.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets like, it's like the highest mercy.
Yeah, and that's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. What verse was there?
30 something.
Okay, 36. In 19th chapter, description of how Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rubbed his face against the walls and spoke like a madman because of separation from Krishna. That chapter also describes the Krishna's wandering in the garden on a spring night, and it fully describes the meaning of a verse about the scent of Krishna's body. The 20th chapter tells how Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recited his own 8 stanzas of instruction and tasted their meaning in aesthetic love. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu composed those 8 stanzas to instruct the devotees, but he also personally tasted their meaning. I have thus repeated the principal pastimes of their meaning, for by such repetition one can remember the descriptions in the book.
In every chapter there are various topics, but I have repeated only those that are principal, for not all of them could be described again. The Vrindavan deities of Madan Mohan with Srimati Radharani, Govinda with Srimati Radharani, and Gopinath with Srimati Radharani are the life and soul of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas.
This is so good.
So that my desires may be fulfilled, I place the lotus feet of these personalities on my head. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya and their devotees, as well as Sri Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, who is my spiritual master.
Raghunath Das Goswami is the spiritual master of Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami.
Yeah.
When did he got initiation from? Oh,
sorry?
I don't remember, like, do you know the past time when he got initiation from? But you see, Srila Prabhupada is saying Srila Raghunath Das Goswami was the instructing spiritual master of Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami and has therefore been described as Sri Guru.
Okay. I have some I don't know. I've always just heard him described as a disciple of Raghunath Das.
Because I think Sri Prabhupada is saying that because maybe he got initiated as in Shiksha and he was already initiated when he came to Vrindavan, I think so.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, he accepted the Goswamis as his instructing spiritual masters. Okay. That's it's unclear to me. I'm looking through some sources, but
We can continue.
Anyway, sorry, I'm just getting distracted trying to find answers. The mercy of their lotus feet is my spiritual master, and my words are my disciples, whom I have made dance in various ways. Seeing the fatigue of the disciples, the spiritual masters has stopped making them dance. And because that mercy no longer makes them dance, my words now sit silently. My inexperienced words do not know how to dance by themselves. The mercy of the Guru made them dance as much as possible, and now after dancing they have taken rest. I now worship the lotus feet of all my readers, for by the mercy of their lotus feet there is all good fortune.
If one hears the pastimes of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, I wash his lotus feet and drink the water. I don't like this shloka. I decorate my head with the dust of lotus feet of my audience. Now you have all drunk this nectar and therefore my labor is successful. Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Ja Rasa Chaitanya Charitamrit Kahe Krishna Dasa, praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Raghunath, always desiring this their mercy. I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit following in their footsteps. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit is filled with the activities of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. It invokes all good fortune and it destroys everything inauspicious. If one tastes the nectar of Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit with faith and love, I become like a bumblebee tasting the honey of transcendental love from their lotus feet. Since this book, Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit, is now complete, having been written for the satisfaction of the most opulent deities Madan Mohanji and Govindji, let it be offered at the lotus feet of Shri Krishna Chaitanya Dev. Realized devotees are like bumblebees, maddened by their own mellows at Lord Krishna's lotus feet. The scent of those lotus feet perfumes the entire world. Who is a realized soul that could give them up? In Vrindavan, in the year 1537, Shakada era, AD 1615, in the month of Jyeshtha, May June, on a Sunday, the 5th day of the waning moon, this Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita has been completed. Thus ends the Bhakti-Vedanta purpose of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, 20th chapter, describing the meaning of the Shiksha-Ashtaka and how the Lord tasted it himself. Yeah, it feels like I've completed just Chaitanya Charitamrita right now. But yeah. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. हे तीन ठाकुर गौड़िया चे नाथ मसात ये तीने न चरण बंदन तीने मोरनाथ. Let's read chapter 19 next week, if Krishna willing.
This is fine. I'm just saying that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada refers to Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami as a direct disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami, and then in the Antya-Leelas, that's in Adi-Leela, and then in the Antya-Leela he says Krishnadas Kaviraj was not actually a direct disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami.
Rupa Goswami?
Sorry.
Raghunath Das Goswami.
He says it, Krishnadas Kaviraj. He says Krishnadas Kaviraj, he says in Adi-Leela, he says Krishnadas Kaviraj is a direct disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami. And then he says, in the Antya-Leela, he says, he is not actually a direct disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami.
Rupa Goswami.
It's kind of funny. Yeah.
Okay.
Those are something I just sent it to you.
Oh,
In
nice.
case you want to just see. It's just from Bunny Quotes.
Yeah, I'll check them out. Nice. I should definitely. This is a nice question. I'll ask some devotees.
Yeah. It's a little confusing, but it's nice to think about.
Yeah, let me ask some devotees. They'll know the answer. They are Rasika. They are really deep into Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Okay.
Okay,
Let me
Prabhu.
know what you find out.
Let's see tomorrow.
Alright.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.